What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Honestly, Vengeance Day tonight was absolutely wild. There really are no words to describe the festivities of Vengeance Day earlier tonight. I mean, we had how many titles defended? 1, 2, 3, 4 titles defend. We had 4 titles defended and 2 grudge matches that were settled, or at least we believe that they were. And each and every one of them, I'm I'm gonna be real. For one of the matches on the card, was a shock to the entire world. So without any further ado, here are the results and my review of NXT Vengeance Day. And it kicks off with the women's North American title between Fallon Henley of Fatal Influence and Stephanie Vaquer. Interestingly enough, this was a match that was expected to happen a lot sooner than most people believe. I mean, we did see Shotzi get her crack at the title not that long ago, and then obviously we found out just a little over a week and a half ago or something. We found out that Stephanie Vaquer would indeed challenge Fallon Henley for the women's North American title. And it's weird because we knew full well that Jasmine Nex and JC Jane of Fatal Influence were going to get involved at some point, and they did on numerous occasions where as Jasmine Nex distracted the referee, JC Jane attacked Stephanie Vaquer on numerous occasions. But even with all of that, Stephanie Vaquer, there's a reason why she's a world-traveled competitor. She has traveled all over the world. She's won championships everywhere she's been. She is a veteran of the game, and she knew full well what she was getting herself into, and she was able to use that to her advantage. Taking out all the members of Fatal Influence, and then hitting Fallon Henley with her finishing move. I think what was it called? The SV something, like SV bomb or something like that. I don't remember what Vic Joseph called it, but then she also hit the spiral tap onto Fallon Henley, thus pinning Fallon to become the new women's North American champion, becoming the first South American to win a championship in WWE. Congrats to her on making that history. Honestly, this was expected. I mean, we knew that Fallon Henley was way in over her head going into this match, and she got a bit too overconfident, thinking, wait a minute, I got Fatal Influence here. I'll just win easy. Literally, that was Fallon Henley's mindset until she realized, oh shit, I fucked up. And and sure enough, she fucked up. And now Vaquer is champion. Honestly, this was, I mean, aside from that, this was actually one of the best opening matches we had ever seen. And in my opinion, I feel like as if, in my honest opinion, I feel like that the tag titles should have kicked off the show. But I'm glad that they kicked the night off with the women's North American title, because it paved the way for the main event, because this is the first PLE in quite some time where the 2 women's singles titles in NXT were kicking off and main eventing the show, which is incredible. aside from again, this was a crazy matchup, pretty insane, all over the place. It's just incredible. 4 stars easy. I mean, that was absolutely insane. Could it have ended? Could the match have ended differently? I mean, it's possible. I feel like if Fallon Henley was able to be the fighting champion as she claimed that she was, and not relied a lot, so much on Fatal Influence, then she probably would have retained. But that's one of the biggest downsides of being a part of a faction, is that if your faction is at ringside helping you, the more they do it, the worse it gets for your reign as champion. And if you don't believe me, just ask Roman Reigns. I mean, he relied too much. He relied on the bloodline to the extent where you look at what happened at last year's WrestleMania. He lost, and the bloodline was there to back him up, but it still wasn't enough. So if that there is not proof of what I just said, I really don't know what is. But still, other than that, I think Fallon's defeat was inevitable. There's really no way that she was gonna win. But speaking of titles, next up, we had an instant classic. The NXT tag team titles, excuse me, Fraxium and the newly formed team of Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. Actually, a lot of people don't know about Yoshiki Inamura as far as his championship accolades go. Yoshiki Inamura, here we are. Right. So if you look at his resume and who he was trained by, right? He was trained by the coaches at the Performance Center, by Josh Briggs, Tavion Heights, Matt Bloom, Shawn Michaels, Steve Corino. He was even also trained as well by the Grey Muta, a Hall of Famer. And you look at his championship accomplishments. I mean, to be fair, yes, he has been a part of the wrestling world for only a few years, but there's one accolade that pretty much defined who he is, and that is the fact that he is a former Progress Atlas champion, which he won the title. Not that long ago, actually. I want to say he won the title not that long ago. Not that long ago, actually. Funny enough. In fact, I think he's the current champion. If I'm not mistaken, But interestingly enough, yes, he is signed still to Pro Wrestling Noah. He's also signed as well to none other to also NXT. So he does have a lot of interest he does show a lot of promise, but there's still a lot for him to do in NXT before he can call himself the best. And this match was basically the match for him to prove himself, and I think he proved it. And interestingly enough, we all thought that this was going to be a blowout, just because of the fact that both Yoshiki Inamura and Josh Briggs were both big dudes, and they were able to use the speed of Fraxium against them. No, they didn't. It was literally back and forth, an instant classic. And I said this before, anytime you see Fraxium defend their tag titles, whether it's in TNA or on NXT or at a premium live event, you know damn well they're gonna put on an instant classic. Tonight was no different. It was back and forth, and there was a brief moment where Yoshiki Inamura was about to hit that splash onto both Fraser and Axiom, but it was all for naught. As we saw, unfortunately, we saw Axiom pin Yoshiki Inamura with a massive high-low combination to retain the NXT tag team titles. However, after the match, they shook hands out of respect, naturally, but they were attacked by four trainees at the Performance Center. Now, interestingly enough, we already knew two of them, Dion Lennox and Cutler James, both of which we did see on NXT Level Up when it was still around. Now, obviously, it is no longer around, as they are replacing it with WWE Evolve, which will be on Tubi. Interestingly enough, like if that show was like on Peacock or on Netflix, that'd be okay. I think that right there, I think that would have drew in more attention, to the show. But it is what it is. But as far as the other two go, no one really knows who they are, what they're about. No one knows. These four superstars just from out of nowhere attacked both Fraxium as well as Briggs and Inamura, and they were standing tall to close out the match. But aside from that, it's Fraxium. They always put on an instant classic. 5 stars easy. You can't really deny it. And I feel like if Briggs and Inamura were a bit quicker with their tags, with their tags, tags in and out and whatnot, and I feel like if they were able to silence Fraxium's speed and use the speed against them, against the champs, then maybe Briggs and Inamura probably would have won. But I feel like that because that they're still relatively new together as a team, and because that Yoshiki Inamura is new to the NXT style of tag team wrestling, I have no doubt in my mind that there's still a lot of room for improvement. And eventually, yes, we will see Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura become tag team champions at some point. Next up, we have Eddie Thorpe versus Trick Williams in a strap match. This is the one that I told you guys earlier in the video that shocked the world. Opening literally, like, not even before the bell sounded, like the bell didn't even sound, and both Trick Williams and Eddie Thorpe beat the hell out of each other. Both were able to apply the strap onto their wrists, and they just went to town. They started to beat the holy fuck out of each other, and it was just absolutely insane. Near fall after near fall. Trick even hit the trick shot onto Eddie Thorpe, but even Eddie Thorpe still, that it did not keep Eddie Thorpe down. And the closing moments will shock you, because Eddie Thorpe hit a pump knee onto Trick Williams, and he pinned the former NXT champion. Yes, you heard me right. Eddie Thorpe pinned the former NXT champion Trick Williams. That right there says a lot, especially given the fact that you look at what excuse me, you look at what has happened to Trick ever since losing the NXT title last month on New Year's Evil. A lot has happened. Like Trick Williams completely lost himself. He lost his way. But I think even after tonight, I think he'll still have a clear path back to the NXT title. But it depends on how he approaches the loss, right? If he approaches the loss in a way that he's willing to accept it, then he can definitely move forward. And I have no doubt in my mind that by the time we get out of WrestleMania season, the Raw after WrestleMania, or perhaps on the SmackDown after or something, I have no doubt in my mind that we are going to see see Trick Williams on the main roster. So from now until then, we are going to be seeing a lot more of Trick Williams in NXT. Maybe even go after the NXT title once again. Only time will tell. But this was a huge shocker. I think even if Eddie Thorpe didn't pin Trick and it was the other way around, I think both men will still stay a legitimate claim to the NXT title. But overall, this was actually pretty crazy. 4 stars, no doubt about it. Next up, we have another grudge match between Ethan Page and Javon Evans. Now, obviously, Javon's doctor did clear him to compete tonight, but Ava told Javon Evans that he had to sign what's called a letter of indemnification, which means in normal terms, it's known as a hold harmless agreement. What that means is that if Javon Evans' jaw gets broken again, or if Javon gets hurt in some fashion or another, no matter what happens, whether he won the match or lost the match, WWE would not be held responsible for what Ethan Page does, for what Ethan Page did to Javon Evans. And shockingly enough, I mean, to no one's surprise, he signed the contract. To no one's surprise, but to everybody's surprise, Javon Evans, well, he got a little overzealous midway into the match, and Ethan Page targeted Javon Evans' knee the same way he did with Dante Chen, and it wasn't pretty. It was not pretty. And the cozy moments, just when you thought that Javon Evans was getting this close from winning, a shot to the jaw popped out Evans' mouth guard, and he hit a new move that he's calling a twisted grin to pick up the victory over Javon Evans. And he actually just admitted just a second ago in a backstage interview, he said that he had no regrets doing what he did to Javon Evans. Honestly, I think this may have been, in my opinion, probably one of the worst matches on the card. I feel like just because of the fact that you have a guy in Javon Evans who has a long career ahead of him, but the problem is, as I'm trying to fix my eyelashes, the problem is that Javon Evans got a bit too overzealous, a bit too over cocky, if you will. Kind of like with how, with what Fallon Henley did earlier in the show. But the big difference between Evans and Fallon is that Javon Evans didn't need anybody to bail him out. That was the only difference. And think of the guys that Ethan Page put on the shelf after what happened in Lowell, Massachusetts. He broke Javon Evans' jaw. He broke Cedric Alexander's hand, which because of that, Cedric ended up leaving WWE, which is unfortunate. And he even put Dante Chen on the shelf as well with a broken leg. So Dante Chen, he's going to be out for at least 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 months at best. So and plus, I feel like by the time Dante Chen returns to NXT, Ethan Page, he'll have already been on the main roster, or as a random thought, he could potentially may well have left WWE, which is also a possibility, but only time will tell. I mean, aside from that, again, I feel like that this could have been put on NXT TV on the CW, but it is what it is. I will be optimistic and give the match 3 stars, solely because of the fact that Javon Evans had dominated a pretty good chunk of the match before ended up losing to Ethan Page in the closing moments. But next up is the NXT title triple threat between A-Town Down Under, I'm talking Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, and the champion Oba Femi. You know what? I'm not even gonna justify what happened. I mean, the match itself, right, speaks for itself. I mean, we knew that both Theory and Waller were gonna have a bit of a falling out, and Oba Femi used that against them. He used that to his advantage and hit Grayson Waller with the Fall from Grace powerbomb to retain the NXT title. Aside from all that, this was an instant classic. Another incredible triple threat for a singles title in NXT. 4 stars easy. I mean, I feel like if Austin Theory really did pull the trigger and turn and broke up A-Town Down Under, I feel like Austin Theory, if he had won the title, he would have been an incredible NXT champion, and that would have established himself as a babyface. But I think what's holding him back from becoming a big star on Raw now, I feel like, is obviously Grayson Waller. I feel like because that the only thing that Waller is good for is his own talk show, the Grayson Waller Effect. Theory could be on Raw, on SmackDown almost every week, holding it down, just just facing off against the best. But he's not, and I feel like that's gonna be Austin's downfall, and it's not gonna be pretty. But unfortunately, the same 4 guys that attacked both the tag champs and the challengers earlier in the show came out and attacked Oba Femi as well. I guess they were trying to make a statement, but excuse me. I think it's pretty safe to say that statement was indeed made. Statement made. Not much else to say about that. Now we move into the main event for the NXT Women's title between Julia, Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez, and Bayley. Here's the crazy thing, right? This was Bayley's first opportunity at the NXT Women's title since losing the title to Asuka at NXT Takeover Dallas. I want to say, was it Takeover Dallas? I want to say it was. I want to say it was. I want to say it was. Takeover. I want to say it was Takeover. Let me see. Let's see here. All right, let's see here. Asuka. Let's see here. NXT Takeover Respect. Asuka defeated Dana Brooke. Takeover London. Asuka defeated Emma. Takeover Dallas. Yep, I was right. It was indeed Takeover Dallas, and I think at Takeover Brooklyn 2, Bayley did receive her rematch for the NXT Women's title at Takeover Brooklyn 2, but unfortunately, Bayley lost, sadly. But I think, aside from that, I think this was the first time since that night where she had received a rematch for the NXT Women's title, and this was and even also Roxanne Perez also received her rematch in this Fatal 4-Way, and originally it was supposed to have been a triple threat, but because that Cora Jade pinned Bayley this past Tuesday on NXT, Ava was like, all right, you know what, fuck it, let's just make it a Fatal 4-Way. And we knew that the odds were stacked against Julia, but there's a reason why Julia is known as the Beautiful Madness, right? There's a reason why she has won multiple championships everywhere she's been, including the promotion Marigold, which let's check out her title accomplishments. Let's see what she's got. ESPN ranked number 11 of the 30 best pro wrestlers under 30 in 2023, which is awesome. Ice Ribbon, which is, I believe, a promotion in Mexico. Not really sure. Hold on, Ice Ribbon. I want to see about that. Oh, it's it's in Japan. Never mind. I thought it was from another country. International Ribbon Tag Team Champion with Tequila Saya. Ice Ribbon Year-End Award for Rookie Award. 2018 tied with Tequila Saya. New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Champion. World Wonder Ring Stardom. Artist of Stardom Champion twice. Goddess of Stardom Champion. Wonder of Stardom Champion. World of Stardom Champion. 2020 Cinderella Tournament. 5-star GP awards for Red Star's Best Match Award. 2020 and 2021, which is awesome. And then of course too, in WWE, the women's Iron Survivor, and now the NXT Women's Champion. So again, Julia has won championships and awards everywhere she's been, and there's a reason why. It's because she is that damn good. And tonight she proved it. She proved it by hitting Roxanne Perez with the Northern Lights bomb. I think she calls that the. I think she calls that she calls that the glorious bomb, to retain the NXT Women's title. And then after that, Stephanie Vaquero showed up. They both held their titles high. And then we heard Jordynne Grace's music show up. And out comes Jordynne Grace, officially signed to NXT. I thought that we would see her on the main roster like we saw with Pentagon Jr., now obviously Penta, but no, both her and Ricky Starks are now being signed to NXT, which is incredible to see. This just proves that NXT has one of the most stacked rosters we have ever seen in years, and I think it would be on the same level of stacked rosters as 2019 when. You know, especially when Adam Cole became the longest reigning NXT champion ever. So, I would say it's about on that level. But congrats to Julia on retaining the NXT Women's title. I think it's pretty safe to say that we are going to be seeing Jordynne Grace and Julia go at it at Stand and Deliver. Maybe we might see Grace and Stephanie. Who knows? Only time will tell. But overall, the Fatal 4-Way and just an instant classic. Another 5-star match. I mean, Julia is still pretty young into her reign as champion. Excuse me. So I think it's safe to say that there was really no other way the match could have ended. But overall, the card itself was pretty loaded. I mean, aside from the Ethan Page, Javon Evans match, everything else was just absolutely loaded. 4.5 stars, man. Absolutely incredible. Congrats to Ava on a successful Vengeance Day. I know some people out there will probably post in the comments saying, oh, the cards sucked. Oh, this match sucked. This person sucked. This sucked. That sucked. Honestly, those type of people, I'm being honest, are the ones who don't know professional wrestling. Where, as opposed to myself, who's as a content creator who's been watching WWE for so long, I know a good PLE card when I see it, and this one was definitely one of them. But with that being said, that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more PLE predictions and results in the future, then make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.